Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are, how you may be watching/listening. Thank you for making us part of your day. I'm Justin,
I'm Alexander.
and we are the hockey podcast you're about to hear. And Alexander, I gotta say, nothing tops a plain cheese pizza. Mmm.
For those that know that there's more than one joke in that. And I strongly disagree.
Which is why I picked it. Only thing to top a cheese pizza is an extra cheese pizza. Mmm.
Uh,
Oh yes, and on that note, where shall we start?
Now that I'm hungry,
I know, right? Me too.
last year we instituted the good, bad, and ugly monthly review of each team, and why not? Let's try it again this year and see if we like it, or if we're just like,
All right,
yeah, scrap this method, let's change it up. I mean, because as any true celebrity, we really do need to reinvent ourselves every now and then.
right.
But
Change just for change's sake, you know.
maybe now's not the time.
Yeah, yeah. Give it another year, see what happens. So.
Indeed.
All right, so
All
good,
right.
bad, and ugly. Ish, ish. Where do you want to start?
You know what? You start anywhere. I have seen enough and heard enough hockey these last month plus that you could start anywhere, and I'm ready.
Alrighty, well let's go to the Atlantic. Let's start with Boston.
Oh my goodness, this is probably like one of the best goods there's going to be.
Uh,
Boston is out to a freaking hot start. I think they've lost 2 games total out of the 15 or 16 they've played. They won again tonight.
yep,
They
14 and
are
two.
looking like the best team in hockey right now, which is ridiculous because Charlie McAvoy is still out injured, and they're doing this. It's if you started the season on any other team and you didn't have your top defenseman or not defensive but best defenseman, you would think you're going to struggle, and they have not
Yeah,
struggled at all. So
not
good
even a
on
bit.
them. Clearly, Bruce Cassidy was the problem, and you know
Yeah,
uh, it's all fixed now. So
that Darden penny that just
huzzah.
keeps popping back up and won't
Yep,
go away.
yep.
Yeah, so great, so great. Uh, let's just move on to Buffalo. What do you think of Buffalo?
Okay, so we might need another category this year, and this is called this is GAD, okay, and this is where you start off good and then you go bad. Because if we had recorded this podcast 2 weeks ago,
oh yeah,
they would have been in a good category before Buffalo went Buffalo, and now
full
Buffalo's got
Buffalo.
Buffalo, and they are not as good as they started, not even close
No.
as they started. So went high, dive low.
Yeah, I think I saw a stat like the last 4 years they've gone on some insane winning streaks to start the season, and then some insane losing streak right after that. Buffalo gonna Buffalo, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, that's gonna be real sad for Buffalo fans, but maybe they can turn a corner, maybe not. We'll see. So how about them Detroit Red Wings, eh?
Everyone's kind of did a whole Buffalo thing too. They start out hot. They start out getting points against poor teams and stuff, finding ways to get to overtimes or whatnot and eat up some points. Injuries have continued to
mm,
absolutely kill the Red Wings. They're missing, at one point, I think they're missing 4 of their top 9 forwards and like
oof.
two of their top 3 forwards. It's just, it's been a triage unit for a variety of reasons. Some injuries, some player assistance program stuff, just
Oh
anything
right,
and
yeah.
everything's coming at the Red Wings. And for a team that's under a new coach and brought in 5 essentially starters, I mean they're all important players essentially, and some forwards and defensemen and a goaltender that they brought in the offseason. To try and gel as a team when you don't have a consistent lineup for a single game. I don't know that we've had this
Uh-huh.
for any of our games this year. Um, so, yeah, it started off good. It's starting to go bad. And maybe by the time we get to next month, it'll be ugly. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Well, just stick with the go ad and hope for the best.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that. I hear you there. So, alrighty, so good old go ad for Detroit, and move on to Florida.
Started slow, picking up speed. Kachuk is having a decent year, honestly. It doesn't seem like it, but for what
right?
his team needs, he's actually been a pretty good acquisition. Whether or not he's worth what they lost. Whether you'd rather have Huberto and Uyghur right now.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, Florida, I think last year was the aberration. This year is reality, and you're still probably the second or third best team in your division.
I mean, if that's the reality, I'd be fine with that. Like,
Yeah,
I'd take that in a heartbeat.
it's just don't expect a President's Trophy run out of them this year. And as
Yeah.
soon as I think they're going to win the next 7 straight and be on this, go like what? But
So I hope they
no,
don't win like 7 straight because they play Calgary on Saturday.
I would consider them to be still a playoff team after seeing them play this year. I wouldn't necessarily consider them a favorite.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
that's fair. So give them a good then overall for their start, or what do you feel
They're good.
there?
They're good. They're good. They haven't had embarrassing losses. Nobody's imploded. They haven't had major injuries that are questioning whether or not they're going to be able to get this guy back this year or anything like that.
Right.
So
Yeah, I will say I do miss Kachuk, but I did see earlier in the season he took a dumb penalty in overtime, and then they lost on the power play. So I'm like, oh yep, don't really miss that. I miss the rest, but not that. So,
hmm
but yeah, I'm
he's
glad to see.
he's already been suspended for a couple of games this year. It's like okay,
Oh yeah, yep, there. He didn't change. Yep, he's good. Didn't take him long to just fit right in, slide right in. Good old Chucky.
what's the phrase about you can't change a leopard's stripes or a tiger's stripes or something like
Yeah, something
that?
like that. Yep.
Tiger
Yeah.
can't change his stripes or whatnot. So
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. 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 No, seems very true. You can take the Kachuk out of Calgary, and he'll just be the same wherever he goes. So, what are you gonna do? Move
What you
on.
got
Yeah, move on to Montreal, I guess, huh?
now? Montreal, I would say, is good because we didn't expect much from Montreal this year.
True.
Right. So anything other than just getting pantsed every game,
Yeah,
I think they get a good right now.
I'm good with that.
Low bar,
Yeah,
and they're hitting it.
yeah. They
So
lost 6-4, but they scored four. So
yeah, like
you
they're
know,
entertaining to watch if you're a fan of that team, and there's hope for the future. While at the same time being like, if we could still get a high draft pick this year, it's okay.
right. Let's do well, but not too well.
Mm,
So yeah, maybe take a page out of Ottawa's book.
uh-huh, uh-huh. Is that who's next? Ottawa?
Ottawa's next. Yes, yes.
So Ottawa is strange because kind of in the opposite way of Montreal. For some reason, Ottawa had expectations this year to try and make the playoffs,
Yeah.
and like from the city, from the team, from the management, and other people are like, Ottawa, really? Playoffs?
Playoffs? We're talking
Better
about
check your
playoffs?
foot in the door. Like if you get 85 points, that's a good year for you guys. Let's not think that you're going to get to 95.
Right. Yeah.
So for where I expected Ottawa to be, they're fine. Um, I think for where they expected to be, it's probably bad.
Right. So yeah, I do think somebody here said they might be sniffing on playoff spots. We don't
Well,
have the footage to go back to, so.
with a strong enough nose, you can sniff from a long distance. So
Very true.
yeah,
Very true. So yeah, we'll see how they're going. Check on them later, huh? And bump down to Tampa Bay.
I'd say they're good.
Good.
I think they're still top four in the division. The Stamkos started out the season on a heater. He had like 5 goals in the first 3 games or whatnot.
Yeah.
So just Tampa's still gonna Tampa.
Yep.
You know.
Just cruise control to the playoffs.
Yep. Yep. Trying to stay healthy.
Yep. All right. I guess we gotta wrap it up with Toronto then, eh?
And if we did this podcast 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, it's a different story. Toronto's good. They're doing just fine.
Yeah.
It feels strange that we just went through an entire 8 teams and only found one that was bad. So maybe it's just because we're early in the season and there's still
Yeah.
optimism.
I
I
mean,
don't
there
know.
are two medium bads too, so
Yeah, it's true, true, true gads, right?
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, if we done Toronto a couple weeks ago, oh my word, the world's on fire! Ah!
Yeah,
They lost to
yeah,
Arizona or something like that, I think, right?
yeah,
Ah!
yeah, yeah. That was a tipping point, apparently.
Huh.
Wake up
Ah!
call.
Hopefully, it better be. Man, don't lose Arizona. Gee. Especially when they're wearing a bunch of bullets.
Bring great shame on your family.
All right. So, anything else about the Atlantic?
Nope, I think the Atlantic is buttoned up and done for me.
All right. Well, let's bounce over to the Metro and start with Carolina.
Carolina's still gonna Carolina. Like
Uh,
it's that they're not running away like Boston is. They're not falling apart like Buffalo or Detroit is. They are what we thought they are, so they're good.
cruising along. Cruising along. Yep. Nothing wrong with that.
I think they lost in overtime to Colorado tonight, but like
I mean, nothing wrong
it's
with
Colorado.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, if you get a point against Colorado, I'd take that any day. So, how about Columbus?
Oh, here's our ugly.
Found it.
Oh boy, it just goes from bad to worse to worse. I mean, we're talking
Yeah.
bad play, injuries left, right, and center. Big names going down. Werenski gone for the season. Goaltending's injured. Just everything fell apart. It's like you won Johnny Gaudreau, and then that means karma means okay, then you lose everything else. Like that was it's honestly been disheartening to see a team like Columbus have all the injuries, all the bad luck. So feeling bad for them. They had I think they got last year played like top line center for them in Jack Roslovic. He was a healthy scratch last night. It's like my how the mighty have fallen. So yeah, I think it's a sad thing going on in Columbus. But what are you gonna do? Somebody's got to be at the bottom. Oh, who would come after Columbus? Let me think about that. I would say we will probably talk New Jersey next. Yeah, I'm gonna talk New Jersey. So here's a team that has absolutely gone berserk and has gone berserk after, well, good things, bad things, no things. They were calling for the head of their head coach game one, game two, with chance of fire Lindy. And
Yeah.
um, what ends up
Insane.
happening? What ends up happening? They go on a 10-game win streak, and the chants are sorry Lindy.
Man, better make up
It's
for it then.
it's been very humorous. So anybody that preseason predicted the Devils to make the playoffs, push for the playoffs, made a pretty good call
They look pretty
because
smart right now, yeah.
they're looking very, very smart indeed. So yeah,
Yeah, I definitely was not one of those people either, so well, glad to see it happen though. But yeah, definitely caught me off guard there. So going from New Jersey to the New York Rangers. Well, actually, I guess the Islanders technically would be next. Let's do the Islanders.
well, I suppose technically, but whatever.
Uh,
So the Islanders, good. Like they didn't start the season super hot, but they have put together wins on the majority of the time. So they continue to play well,
yep,
be in a spot where it's like, yeah, these guys should be a playoff team.
yeah. 8-2 in the
So,
last 10. That's kind of surprising to me. I would thought they'd be in the bottom half of their division, not second place right now.
so that's a roster that really didn't change in the offseason, like at all.
Yeah, like
And all they changed was the coach, and it was the assistant coach of the previous guy. So
yeah,
nothing's really changed there. It was mostly last year of well, so we had a 13-game road trip, and then we were the first ones to get COVID and didn't get shut down and had to play through it, and yada, yada, yada.
uh-huh.
So they had their reasons as to why last year was bad,
Yep,
and they're playing better this year.
yep.
Good for
Say
them.
a bunch of people come down on Lou Lamoriello for doing nothing, and now it's like, well, I didn't really need to do anything, so that's why I didn't do anything. Weird, right?
And if you have a good goaltender, you don't have to do anything.
Right? Yeah, yeah. No, like you said, just a fluky year and move on to the next one.
Yep.
So now we can bump back over to the Rangers.
So the Rangers, what's interesting about this is I think people expected the Rangers to be really, really good this year
Uh huh.
based on how they ended last year. What was interesting about the Rangers' regular season last year is they got by with Vezina caliber or Vezina winning goaltending in Ilya Sorokin, and um, they had one of the best power plays in the league,
Uh-huh.
and they stopped goals with a great goaltender. No, Igor Shesterkin, not Sorokin.
Yeah, I was
It's
saying
just
that
it's
doesn't
like
sound right, but it's like,
I'm on the wrong team again.
yeah,
Uh, so Shesterkin, yes,
yeah.
he, and then the hottest power play in the league with the talent they have on it. The problem is this league also plays 5-on-5 quite a bit, and they're not the best 5-on-5 team. So this year,
Yeah.
if the power play is not as good, if the goaltending is not as good, suddenly they're not as dominant of a team. So are
Mm-hmm.
they fine? They're fine,
Maybe another go ad.
but yeah, yeah, but they're not running away with their division or anything like that. Are they still a top 62 league? Absolutely. Are they
Yep.
still a probably top 10 team in the league? I would say yeah.
Maybe.
But you go much beyond that, and I start to kind of squint my eyes and be like, well, let me think about this because I could add this team, this team. Well, we're going to get to 8 really fast. So I don't know
Yeah.
if Rangers would be right about that 8 to 10 window, I think, as far as best teams in the league.
Yeah. Fair. 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 Let's see. So, yeah, we'll see how they can do. But let's pop over to Philly. See what they're all about, eh?
Philadelphia, eh? Well,
Oh my.
Philadelphia team started out hot
Uh huh.
and bad. So we have another GAD to enter the chat, which is just great because um, let's go to the story for a number of teams, actually, now that I think more about it.
Yeah. Well, fair.
Uh, Now, if we want to say based off of expectations, they're still good because they've actually won some games, and some people thought that they'd just be a tire fire the whole season.
Like
Um,
me over here. Yes.
the issue is that John Tortorella gets the most out of mediocre teams, and
Right.
they have bad teams, so he's going to get the most out of a bad team and make them a mediocre team.
Right. Which,
But all that being said, I, this team's not going to be a playoff team.
no.
Um, so they're eventually going to fall down the standings and fall down the standings, fall down the standings, and find themselves somewhere above Columbus.
Yeah. Let's say Connor Hart started off really hot, and then hasn't he dropped off of late, or I think it's somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know what his last week has been like, but yes, he did start off um, on a heater,
Hmm.
which helps.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Was it the Merrick says about goaltending?
That if you have goaltending, it's 70% of your team. If you don't have goaltending, it's 100% of your team.
That's right. Yeah. It was something like that, but I couldn't remember exactly how. Haven't heard him say it for a while, so you know. So yeah, we'll see what they have there. So what do you want to say about Pittsburgh then?
Mhm. So I feel like this is another GAD team. Like they started off really well, and I think they've lost 5 of the last 6 or 6 of the last 7. They have not.
Yeah, they're 2-6-2 in the last 10, so that's not great.
They're in a bit of a cold spell here. So I think they're going to get that figured out tonight against Minnesota. But anyhow, um, yeah, it's a team that's starting to look old all of a sudden,
Finally, there's a penny
which
that might be dropping.
we've been expecting and expecting, and
And
here we
expecting.
go. And basically, as soon as you re-signed all these old guys, they got old.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, they're a go ad. They'll probably be a. We'll see where that next month, but yeah.
Wow.
Uh, and then I
Uh,
assume we have one team left in the division.
yep, that just leaves
What?
Washington, which I'm kind of surprised at looking at standings.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
realize.
that,
Ugh.
that's a lot of injuries right there, and that's a lot of hey, we had 2 goaltenders last year. We got rid of both of them. They're now both having really good years on their new teams, and the goaltenders we got. Hey, how about the Stanley Cup winning goaltender from Colorado? Grubauer, he's going to be our savior. We can get rid of these 2 guys and bring in this dude. And guess what? you don't have Colorado's defense in front of him. You don't have Colorado's scoring in front of him. He's suddenly a
Yeah.
very pedestrian goaltender, as many
Ooh.
people have said for a long time.
Yeah, especially when it was because he was Arizona before that, right? Before
Yeah.
Colorado. Yeah.
Uh,
So, yeah, amazing what happens. There's that Jeff Merrick saying in. Yep.
yes. And you have injuries to like Backstrom and injuries to Oshie and injuries like Tom Wilson has not really played. So
Right.
it's hard. Even Carlson's missed some time. So
Yeah, that's rough.
they, what are you going to do? Injuries tank a team. Like you have to have
Yeah.
top tier players to play their best to win games in this league. So, and they don't have those guys in the ice right now. So that's killing them.
Makes it rough. So yeah, what do you want to? What kind of label do you want to slap on them?
I think it's bad. I didn't expect a ton of Washington, but
Yeah.
at least there to be like, hey, Ovi's got 10, 15 goals already this year, and
Yeah.
he scores. But I mean, he'll probably get 30 some goals this year, which is still like,
Shit.
God, I'd love to have a 30-goal scorer on my team.
Yeah. Right. I
But
know.
for his standards and his pace, it's a little off this year, and the
Right.
team reflects that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, anything else about the Metro?
No, I think the one thing I will say about the Metro is last year there was the haves and the have-nots. There was the four teams that had 100 points, and there was the four teams that had like less than 85 or
Oh
whatnot.
yeah. Uh-huh.
It's a bit more even this year. So you see where New Jersey's come up, and Washington's fallen back, and the Islanders have come up, and Pittsburgh has fallen back. So it's a little bit more of a competitive, evenly balanced division than it was last year. Because about this time last year, it was kind of already figured that okay, there's your playoff teams, there's not your playoff teams. There was really nothing to watch in the Metro for 2/3 of the season.
Yeah, it makes it kind of boring. I mean, unless you're one of the top four playoff teams, and like, yes, take this
So
all day long.
so this year that's a little more exciting. I think especially having New Jersey play where it's like, okay, New
Yeah.
Jersey's going to make the playoffs. That means somebody here is not going to make the playoffs that made it last year, and maybe two somebodies depending on how things go in the Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's at least fun to watch the jostling this year.
Right. Should be the actual playoff race this year instead of positioning race.
It'll make the trade deadline interesting. It'll just, yeah, it
Yes.
should be really, really fun.
Oh yes. I agree. So, shall we hop on over to the Central and start with Arizona?
Arizona. You know what? We're going to give them a good because there was absolutely
Huh.
no expectation for this team to do anything other than tank for Bedard.
Yeah.
Um, or yeah, there was some rather crash hashtags for how to tank for Bedard, but yeah, I think we will
Yeah.
move on from that.
Yeah. I was thinking give them ugly for their opening night in Mullen Arena.
You
Handed out free
know,
molds to everybody.
they uh, they are playing the hand that they are dealt as best as they can, and even if you're dealt the ugly hand, you still have to play it, and they're choosing to do that.
Very
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Very true. So, what kind of hand do you think Chicago has been dealt?
You know, they're supposed to be rebuilding. They're supposed to be trying to push Kane and Taves out the door, and it's almost like they've said, no, we don't want to go anywhere. We're going to play really well this year, and we're getting other guys to buy in around us, and our new coach is going to try and get us to win, even though management's like, we are trying to
No,
make
no,
it bad.
no.
What are you guys doing?
Abort, abort.
And I feel like Chicago's into this exact thing where it's like they're going to end up like 11th or 12th and be like, well, if we go to been worse, we could have got a higher draft pick and we could have been better. We could have made the playoffs. And instead, you guys chose to waste it all right in the middle.
Yeah, it's the
So,
worst place to be is the middle.
for expectations, they're doing good. If you want them to
Yeah.
do mediocre. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, that's definitely something to think about. And yeah, definitely not where I thought they'd be either. What about Colorado? How are they doing?
Colorado start is one, struggling with some injuries, like Landeskog's out for a bit. The guys have missed time. Makar hasn't had the season that everyone was like, oh, Makar's going to be probably a Hart Trophy candidate. And it's a long season. We'll get
Yeah.
there. But let's do this, okay? They're still a really good team. They're still going to win a lot of games. They're going to be just fine, and they'll be healthy come
Oh yeah.
playoff. Like
7-3 in the last 10. Yeah. They're
I'm not at all worried
cruising.
about Colorado. They're still one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the league.
Oh yeah.
Full stop.
Yes, indeed. But surprising top for the Central come to Dallas.
Um, yeah, which that's interesting, and I think it's interesting from a couple standpoints. Is that's a team like you expect to be old, but
Yeah.
somehow they're old and young at the same time. So they have some guys like Pavelski and Ben and Sagan and Radulov that are into their 30s and past the point of prime.
uh-huh.
But then they have some guys coming in that are like in their early 20s, like ELCs or sign their first big contracts or whatnot. And this team is both ends of the spectrum, and it's working right now. Now that gets swapped to where suddenly it's like, well, they're old and inexperienced, whereas right now they're young, they're fast, and they got those veterans that know how to play the game even
Oh
as they
yeah.
age. In the end, goaltending tips the balance usually,
Uh-huh.
and you get good goaltending from your goaltenders, you're gonna be good. Also, if you're in a division with Arizona and Colorado and some other teams that we will mention that are struggling, well, there's points to be had, and they're getting them. So good on Dallas for winning the games that they're playing. Um,
Yeah.
and Pete DeBoer usually does have a good year his first year anywhere he goes,
Very
whether
true.
it's
Very true.
Vegas, New Jersey, San Jose, like all his stops, his first years have actually been really good. So maybe this isn't too surprising in that regard. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're doing good. I'd say they're exceeding my expectations.
Yeah. Same here. Same here. So how's Minnesota doing with your expectations?
Freaking ugly. Holy hour and a half, bro. Like there's just absolutely win a game. Like Minnesota, I expected Minnesota to be a very good team this year.
Uh-huh. Not a 500 team.
Not a 500 team. Not a team struggling to beat teams that they should not struggle to beat. And so it's been rough. So
Saying which Flurry are you gonna get for the night?
yeah, yeah. Well, now he's injured.
Oh
Um,
right.
so this has been. Oh, and while we were on Dallas, I should have mentioned this. This has been the year of the goaltending injury
Oh
because
yeah.
going down and going down and going down. And tonight there was a goaltender stretchered off the ice in Dallas.
Oh. Yep.
Scott Wedgwood
Oh man.
reached, made a couple saves, and then just laid on the ice reaching for his back. And um,
Sheesh.
there's still yet to be an update other than the standard updates.
Lower body
Yeah,
injury. Uh-huh.
yeah. Awake, alert. In good spirits.
Right.
Yada yada. No, I don't know what that means because that's a very blah way of saying absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Let us say this about the goaltending this year. Stay healthy. Just stay healthy because everybody's fallen. Everybody's fallen. So,
Be last man standing at that point.
yeah.
End of the year.
Yep.
Alrighty. So how's Nashville doing, eh?
They are trash as well. Absolutely trash. Just as ugly as you're going to get because, again, a team that made the playoffs last year had a Norris winning defenseman, had just absolutely fantastic close the season, great goaltending, and big time goal scoring from Matt Duchene, setting his own personal records.
Uh-huh.
Forsberg was hot,
Oh yeah.
and this year they are struggling to find points. They are struggling to find wins. They are struggling to find everything. So, I'm sorry, Nashville, but you're failing. You're failing bad, or
Yeah,
should be.
a little bit.
I'd say you can't turn it around to the Central because the Central has a lot of room to turn things around. Because nobody in the Central is you have Colorado and you have Dallas leading the thing, but there's that third spot's always going to be available. We think.
Probably. Yeah, who knows? Who
Uh,
knows? Say, interesting if St. Louis makes a push for it, huh?
well, why would St. Louis need to make a push for it? Were they not close?
Well, currently they're seventh in their division, below
Oh,
500,
oh!
4-6. Oh, in their last 10.
So I thought they started out the year 3-0.
Yeah,
What happened? And that
man.
was 3-0 after like 3 weeks of hockey. They had to play three
Yeah,
games,
ridiculous.
uh,
Jeez.
and then things caught up to them, and the rest of the league was running at full speed, and they started playing teams, and it was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
we're still figuring out our stuff over here, and they lost
Yeah,
what, 8 in a row or something. It was bad.
something. Yeah. Oof.
Uh, but now they've won, I think, like 3 in a row, so they're
Oh,
turning things around.
yeah.
4 in a row actually.
Yep. I'll say they're 4-6 in the last 10, and they're on a 4-game winning streak. Oof. That's rough.
So it's a team that puts wins together, then puts losses together, then puts wins together, puts losses together. Um, yeah, St. Louis, they would kind of. I'm trying to figure out even if they're good or bad or ugly, because I feel like they're like a bud because they were going bad and now they're going good, but I don't necessarily know that I believe the good, so I'm going to keep them at just a bad.
I'll say they're minus 13 right now in differential. So,
It takes a while to get back out of that hole
oh yeah,
of plus minus when you've lost that many games.
oh yeah,
So, yeah, I'd say they're bad.
man. Yep. All right.
Might be good this time next month though.
Yeah. Who
So
knows? Who knows?
fingers crossed, everybody.
That's why it's not Thanksgiving yet here in America, so no need to panic.
Uh-huh.
Almost. All right, and we'll wrap it up with Winnipeg.
Holy cow, where did Winnipeg come from?
Yeah,
Can
it's kind
can
of
you
what I'm
tell me?
wondering.
I don't know.
I had no idea. None
Okay,
at all.
because I certainly don't know. They
Oh,
were boom out of nowhere. Like, wait a minute, wait a minute,
no, we're here to play.
Winnipeg?
We're here to play. Yep.
Oh, it was one of those things where, and this is why I don't like playing any kind of fantasy hockey. Is I had Kyle Connor on my 5-man or 6-man squad with where you have $30 million
Oh
salary
yeah,
cap. Like,
right.
okay, he scores a lot of goals. He could have a good year, and he doesn't make that much compared to other guys that score in similar ranges. So I'm going to grab him, and we're 2 weeks in, and I'm just getting killed. I'm like, okay, I got to make a
Yeah.
change. As soon as
Yep.
I make a change, Kyle kind of starts ripping off the
Pew.
point. Right? Like every night it's 2 or 3 points. I'm like, oh my gosh. And that's a league you can only make one trade per month. So
Ooh, yeah.
it's and I had other issues that I needed to address. It's like, ugh. So
Yeah.
and Hellebuck is Hellebucking, so that that plays a big factor in their point standings.
A little bit. And the goaltender stat coming back again, eh?
Mhm. Yep.
All
So
right. We'll slap a good on them. And anything else about the Central then?
nope.
All right. Well, let's wrap things up with the Pacific, starting with Anaheim.
You're trash. You're bad. You're awful.
Yeah.
You score a nice goal and they call it back from offsides. It's like that's the
Yeah.
go cry in the corner in your spoiled milk. They're going for the top draft pick this year. Like what else are they gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. Um, they're so Steve Eiserman had a protege in um, his protege is now the general manager in Anaheim.
Okay.
So I expect similar rebuild paths and ideas and going forwards
Oh, great. That's
like
awesome to hear.
Anaheim
Yay.
as Detroit had. So
Yay. I'm so excited.
you're gonna see guys drafted for a lot of upside. You're gonna see some big defensemen drafted. You're gonna see a lot of free agency moves or not free agency, but like trades and such that like move some contracts and get some picks and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what you're That's what you're looking for on that, if you're paying attention.
All right. So, how about them Calgary Flames, eh?
I think there's an expert in the room, and I'll let him talk.
I'm gonna say ugly right now. After going 5-0-1 in the first six, and then going
Could be
0-6-1.
completely wagon. Holy cow.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you were wagon to start the year. It was ridiculous.
I
Like,
know.
your first three games was what, like Colorado,
Uh,
Carolina,
Edmonton, if I remember right.
Vegas. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
I
just
mean, they
like,
were good quality wins against good quality teams. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And dispatched them was like, oh, Calgary's for
Yeah.
real. And
Uh huh.
I'm not for real.
And then 0-6-1 in the next seven, 2-6-2 in the last 10. You
But
know, I think some growing pains that I was expecting. In the first 5 games, 5, 6 games, I didn't expect them to go on that winning streak. But then I didn't expect them to go on that losing streak. I'm like, oh, they got it figured out. They're fine. Oh, they're not fine. Oh, wait, maybe they're fine. Oh, maybe not. They're fine.
mm-hmm.
So I think they're still trying to figure out how to play with each other. And like how all the lines kind of work out well. That's the other thing too. Sutter was kind of messing with some lines during the losing streak, and then he kind of put them back, and things kind of leveled back out a little bit. But it was kind of late at that point, so I don't know. We'll see how they do next month or so. I think they should be able to kind of settle down and hit a stride. Hopefully, get second, third spot, or at least a wild card at this point. But yeah, right now they get ugly. I think Kadri's really the only one right now showing up all the time, every time, which that surprised me a little bit. I was wondering, after he won a cup, would he even try? Nope, he's trying. He's trying real hard.
Got to be worth that big money.
Yeah, it might be worth it now, but not at the end of that thing. He gonna be old. Ugh. But that's for future Justin and future Alexander to talk about. So, anything else for Calgary?
Nope.
All right, it brings us to Edmonton.
It's a bad because I thought they'd be like a President's Trophy type team this year. And what I forgot to think about was, oh yeah, they didn't add any defense. And
Yeah.
the goaltender they added, they overpaid for what they're getting because Campbell has looked like literal,
Ooh. Yeah,
like
a little bit.
that's how runny he has been. And so,
Uh-huh.
yeah, just
That's
McDavid,
it.
freaking phenomenal. Like on like a
Yeah.
160 point pace again this year.
That's
Just
fine. That's
absolutely
fine.
insane. Is doing things on a nightly basis that are just like, are you kidding me again?
Right?
So yeah, but it's a team game. It's a long season. One man cannot do it all, and they're bad.
Yeah, a little bit. We'll say it's getting so complex for him anymore. It's like, oh, yep, that checks out. Yep, sure, good. Like, no, it's still like really amazing play. It should still be MVP talk, but we're just used to it now, so it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so how about those Kings?
Kings, I think they started off the season maybe a little slow, but they look like they're playing some pretty good hockey now.
Yep.
They're coming back up in the division. They looked pretty good the other night against the. Um, they played Detroit recently. They played Edmonton recently. I've seen both of those games, and they look like a fully competent hockey team.
Yeah.
So
7-2-1 in the last 10. I'd say
hmm
they got something figured out.
hmm so
All right. How
good for
about,
them.
oh, yeah, how about them Kraken?
They've been a surprise team that
Yeah.
was not really supposed to be like a playoff team in my mind. That has been they've kind of been the Buffalo of the West.
Uh-huh.
So now it's like, okay, you're gonna come back to earth here because
Huh.
this is not gonna stay that way. So yeah,
As
that's
they
my
don't. It's a little crowd there at the top. Oof.
now for what we thought they do. I'd say they've been doing good.
Yeah,
I'd have to give them a good.
I would say that. And probably the polar opposite for the next team of San Jose.
Even with low expectations, they have done worse than that. Talk about trading Carlson. Like Carlson's having a phenomenal
Yeah.
start, just absolutely crazy. and that's making him a trade bait. It's like, who's gonna trade for 4 years of Erik Karlsson at $11 million a
Whoa,
season?
yuck.
So somebody might not. I don't know. But if you're gonna try and get out of that contract, now is the time when he is suddenly the talk of the town.
Yeah, he still got it, guys. He still got it. Come get him, please. Please come get him, please.
Yeah. Now, here's what I'm thinking. If the cap does go up, like people are talking it may, more than
Uh-huh.
the 1 million, more like a $4 million jump, suddenly for a team to be like, you know what, if we can find a way to make it work this year, we can have the space the next 3 years with whatever the salary cap jumps to have Carlson on our team.
Right, yeah.
So maybe somebody's thinking long term like that of like, okay, we can finagle a deal and maybe Carlson ends up in, I don't know, Toronto
Uh-huh.
or a New York or something like that, uh, for a team that's going to make several runs at cups. I don't know,
Yeah.
but there's also talk that maybe he just goes back to Ottawa. And if that's the case, it's like, why? Because they're not on a project. No, like unless Ottawa can get him really cheap, they're like, you know what? We can take his whole salary because we're Ottawa and we don't spend money.
Right, yeah, there you go. You give
So
us
maybe it's like,
Carlson and like 3
you give us
picks?
Carlson
Sure.
and the full cap hit. We'll send you some future considerations.
Yes.
And San Jose will be like, this was our chance to get rid of him, so we got rid of him and freed up the cap space.
Yes.
Who knows?
It could work. It could
Who
happen.
knows?
No, me. Be interesting to watch that for sure, though. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens there. So, how about those Canuckies, eh?
That's a dumpster fire right there.
Ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Oof. Yeah. Just anything else to say, or just.
Just burn the whole thing to the ground and start. If you would like to trade my team an Elias Pettersson or
Ooh,
Quinn
yeah.
Hughes, I I would be okay
Right,
with
yeah.
that.
Take them off your hands.
So
Yeah, sure.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that'd be cool. Um, but
Alrighty.
yeah, no, they yeah, bad year so far.
Yeah. Alright, to wrap it up, let's go to the Knights.
Very good.
So, as
Very.
everybody predicted, top of the Pacific, yes, yes.
Yep. Yep. Very good.
How about that Jack Eichel guy, huh? He seems pretty good.
You know, I think they made the right call.
I think he made the right call too in his surgery.
Yeah, that also.
Weird,
Yep.
huh?
You see, he had a hat trick in Buffalo the other night.
I sure did.
Oh, okay. So he can kind of still do what he wants to do if he wants to do it.
Uh huh. Yeah. Yeah, seems pretty alright. So, alright, so anything else on the Pacific?
I do not have anything else on the Pacific, no.
Alright, so any other thoughts you want to get to, or do you want to wrap things up?
I think we can wrap up this review right there. I may just give a quick glance at the stats so far this year of
Alrighty.
who's leading all of the things, because it's interesting to see that stuff.
Alright.
It should be no surprise that McDavid and Draisaitl are 1-2, like they basically have been for the past however many years. Um, and then as far as like the other top 10, nothing too crazy on that list. Maybe Erik Karlsson, like we talked about, being up there on the points leaders for the season. That's cool. And that's just in points. If you break it out into goals, Bo Horvat is in a contract year in Vancouver, so as bad as Vancouver's been, Bo
Huh.
Horvat is right behind McDavid for goals.
Weird.
It's like,
What?
well, that guy's trying to get traded out of Vancouver
Oh,
real
yes.
hard.
Oh, yes.
He's the captain,
Ooh, that's
uh,
rough.
or he's trying to make a huge contract in the off season. Not sure which.
Right. Probably out of Vancouver either way, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Other than that, points wise, there's nothing too crazy on in the leaderboards. Defenseman. All the normal defensemen are probably where they should be to some degree. There's always a few defensemen that have weird breakout years, like Brandon Montour or Hampus Lindholm or Josh
Right.
Morrissey. You still see, oh yeah, Carlson, Fox, Deline, McCarr, Hughes. Like those guys are still up there. It's like, okay, that's fine. Rookies, I don't care about rookies quite so much this year because there's no
Me.
Red Wings there. And then goaltending. Anything interesting in the goaltending department stand out to you?
Yeah. Number 3, Vitek Vanacek for the Devils. What? Number 3 in
Yeah,
wins at least,
yeah.
or
Again,
tied for second. Yeah.
Washington, Washington had Vitek Vanacek, didn't protect him in the expansion draft. Seattle took him, and then Seattle traded him back eventually for just a second round pick to Washington, and then Washington the following offseason didn't re-sign Vanacek. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Then Vanacek's just free to go wherever he wants, and he goes to New Jersey and suddenly a really good goaltender. It's like
Right.
maybe you should have protected him, or maybe you shouldn't have traded back for him, or
Yeah. Something.
oh well.
Looks like it's the good old Martin Jones getting back to form. 7 wins, 909, 238.
A change of scenery does a lot for you.
That sure does.
I would say also particularly as a goaltender, just
Oh
because
yeah,
that's such a mental position. So
I would agree. Sheesh, Andrei Vasilevsky. He's pretty far down the win column right now, with some ugly numbers. Oh my, oh my.
yeah, like I for a goaltender to play as many games as he has because they don't have much in the way of a backup, so he plays what 60 some games a year, I think,
Probably, yeah.
in full seasons. The last 3-4 years have got to have like he's still just got to be like breathing heavy. Um,
I'm sure. Yeah.
all the work that's had to go into that. So um, if he starts off a little slow,
Yeah, which I think he
uh,
usually does anyway. Like October, November numbers are usually kind of trash, and then December kind
yeah,
of
that
picks up, January kind of picks up.
his numbers are like April, May, and June are just like
All right, yep, there he is. Found him.
ah, ding.
So
So
yeah, no, definitely something to keep an eye on and see where they sit next time. So, anything else you wish to discuss, bring up, complain, rant about, or shall I bring it to a close?
uh, we will save rants and raves and disappointment not for the next time. So no, I think we are good.
Good deal. So, I am Justin,
I'm Alexander.
and we're the hockey podcast you're about to hear, which you did. So, thanks for listening, and we'll talk at you later.
Bye.